God can do anything. You see, I don't put my faith and trust in man. I don't put my faith and trust in this system. I don't put my faith and trust in this world. I don't even put my faith and trust in many people, but I put my faith and trust in God. You know why? Because God can do anything. You see, you have people nowadays, the biggest issue that many people have is they have lack of faith. They have lack of faith. They don't believe in God. You go to a doctor tells you there's nothing else that can be done. It's over with. We have this sickness for life. You're disabled for life. You're blind for life. There's nothing else that we can do. Someone tells you, oh, you're never gonna get that job. Or you're never gonna get that man. He too good for you. You're not on his level. You're never gonna get that woman. She too good for you. You're not on her level. Listen, God can do anything. God can do miracles. You see, I'm not into doubting myself. I'm not into looking at myself and feeling sorry for myself and saying, oh, my situation's over with. I can't do nothing about it. What I'm looking at is what God can do. What I'm looking at is the stuff that God can create. You see, what's impossible with man is possible with God. God can do anything. He's the creator. You see, you got so many people that they like to down talk on people. They like to downplay people's dreams, downplay people's goals like it can't come to pass. I've even heard people say stuff like, "Oh, you can't get that woman. You're not on her level." Oh, you can't get, or a person will tell a woman, "Oh, you can't get that man. He not on your level." With God, he can do anything. God can send you your God-ordained wife if you're a man. God can send you your God-ordained husband if you're a woman. And he could come way more than what you expected. You might be expecting God to send you this type of man or this type of woman. Next thing you know, God ends up sending you somebody way beyond your expectations. Something that was greater than what you even asked for. You got back a double portion. You ask God for like certain characteristics, you got those times 10. You ask God for a certain job, you over asking God, just please, can I just please get a job paying 60,000, 70,000, please. I just need a little money to pay my bills, that's it. I'm not asking for no 6-figure job. Next thing you know, God give you a job paying like 200,000, 150,000, 100,000. You may ask God, God, just please allow me to open my business. Please allow my business to take off. I just want a little bit of money. Please. I just want a little bit of extra money to pay my bills. Next thing you know, your business take off, and next thing you know, your business making millions of dollars per year. You see me? The Bible makes it clear, life and death is in the power of the tongue. I believe and I know that God can do anything. That's why I don't believe in limiting myself. That's why that's why a lot of stuff I do in life, I do it to the maximum of my potential. When I ask God for, when I'm looking towards God for something, I'm looking towards the best. Because I know that God can do anything. I know that he can far surpass my expectations. He can far surpass what I'm believing him for. Because many people, they like to put God in a box. And you see, when you do that, it's not good. Because now you're trying to limit God to what he can do for you. Because what you believe in your heart, it shall come. If you don't believe that God can do all of that for you, then when he gives it to you, you're going to be shocked. You're not even going to believe that's really from him. You might be thinking it's from the enemy. You're going to be like, wow, this is too good to be true. Not even realizing that same blessing you're about to get can be from God himself. Don't limit God. God can far surpass your expectations. You see, man looks at the physical appearance. They look at how you look, how you dress, and all that nonsense. But you see, God, he looks at the heart. And you see, when you're one of his children, when you fully commit your life to him, he going to make a way for you. God going to make a way for his people. So that's why many people, especially worldly people, they don't understand. You see, a lot of you worldly people, a lot of you guys like to condemn Christians. You guys try to figure out certain principles. Let me tell you something. When you're one of God's children, he could give you something you're not even qualified for. You might be interviewing for a job that's paying like 200,000. He asking for a master's degree, like 10 years experience. You might only have a bachelor's degree. Actually, you might only have an associate's. You might only have an associate's degree with 2 years of experience, and you can still get that job. You know why? Because God can do anything. You're one of his. He gonna look out for you. He gonna bless you. He gonna keep you. You see, when you're one of God's children, he will look out for you. He will make a way out of no way. Look how many people, I've heard about people, I've seen testimonies of people, Christians, to where they had no money to pay their mortgage, no money to pay their rent. I know where there's money just comes to them. They just find money. Someone hands them money. I believe there was a person who I knew to where they were struggling to pay their rent. They were just asking God, God, I know you can do it for me. I know you can do it for me. I know you can do it for me. Guess what? Someone just walked up to that woman and gave her $500. You see, your faith. That woman had faith in God. She had faith in that's what. And you see, God answered her on the spot. You see, life and death is in power. I'm gonna keep stressing it. Because you want God to move on your behalf, but you gotta believe for him to move on your behalf. How you gonna ask, how you gonna say, I don't believe this. Whatever. It's not gonna come to pass. How is God? Is God like you want God to work for you, but you're not even believing for him to work for you? God looking at you like, wow, I'll never really move for you, son. I'll never really move on your behalf, daughter. But you don't even have faith in me. Like many people, they don't even have faith in God. Many people, they go to a doctor tell you got 6 months to live, and you just give up right then and there. You don't even trust God. There's people I know to where there's people who I heard of to where the doctor told them they only have like 1 year to live. And this was like 10 years ago. Guess what? Those same people are still alive till today. You know why? Because mankind don't call the shots. I'm not saying that healthcare professionals and these different people in these high professions are not needed or then they're not important. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is they're human beings, man. They're not God. Their report is not the final report. They can make like certain estimations and certain predictions, yes. When I say certain predictions, I'm just thinking about like they could like plot a certain timeline of what they believe. But God is the one who fully knows. He's the one who fully has the final answers. If God says you're gonna live to be 100, doctor could say you have 1 year to live. Guess what? You could be 50 years old and doctor says you have 1 year to live and you still make it another 50 years and live to be 100. A doctor can say like, oh, you smoke too much drugs, your liver is damaged. Oh, it's over for you. We can't do nothing for you. You only have like 8 more months to live. God might say, no, you have 30 more years to live, and you lived for another 30 years. God has the final answer. I believe God, and I know with God all things are possible. I know with God, he can give me more than what I asked for. God, he can surpass my expectations, and that's what I'm looking towards is God's best. I'm not looking out for no blessing that's 50%, 75%, 99%, 99.9%. No, I'm looking towards what God got for me 100%. I'm looking after what God's blessings, man. I'm not even looking for my own blessings. I'm looking for blessings that come from God himself, not blessings I have to go and get, not blessings that I'm making up for myself. Because this is where many people go wrong. Many people, they put themselves in situations. They go after stuff that God might not have ordained for them. And then when it fails or it comes out a certain way, they believe that's what God wanted for them. No. If God did not want you to do that, then don't do it then. Because now what you're doing is, instead of going after God's will, you're going after your own will. And you already know when you go after your own will, you're basically hurting yourself. Because instead of getting what God had intended for you, you're going to settle for something less. That's what you see happen to many people, especially in areas of relationships. They go after a man, they go after a woman. That is not what God wanted for them. They go after a man, they go after that woman, they end up hurting them. Or they end up being not what they expected. Or the relationship might carry on for a while. But then they're not fully happy, they're not fully fulfilled. You know why you're not fully fulfilled? Because you're in something that God did not call you in. So your spirit will never be at peace. You will never have no rest. You will never be fully happy. But you see, when you in what God got for you, when you going after what God got for you, when you got his blessing that he got for you, man, you're going to be happy. You're going to be fulfilled. That's why many people nowadays walk around in society angry. Because they chase after stuff, a lot of them. And the stuff they chase after was end up hurting them. Or they did not really get no enjoyment out of it. And now they're hurt. Now they want to walk around angry. Now they want to walk around bitter. But you see, you can't really walk around bitter and angry. Because you only have yourself to blame for it. You have nobody else to blame but yourself. You should have followed after God and seeked his will for your life. Come, let me tell you something. When you get blessings that come from God, when you're going after God's will for your life, you will always win in the end. You know why? Because it's coming from God himself, and he knows what's best for you. He knows what's going to make you happy. He knows what's going to help better you as a person. That's why I'm going after God's blessings. I'm not going after worldly stuff that the world is pushing. The world talks about going after Instagram bundles. The world talk about men have to have a certain type of job. World talk about women gotta have a certain type of body and all this. I ain't doing all of that. I'm going by God's standards. And God's standards, you will always win as a person. I will always win because I'm going by God's standards. I'm going after what God got for me. And that's why I'll never lose. And that's why you people, I suggest that you go after what God got for you. Because you never lose. You always win. You always win in the end. You always come out a better person. Don't follow this world. Because this world lead you astray. Follow God's path. And seek what he got for you. Come, let me tell you something. What God got for you is for you and for nobody else. And the beautiful thing is, with God, all things are possible. That's why some people, they look at certain couples, they look at they look at certain marriages. They be like, how could that woman go with that man? He looks like he's below her level. How could that man go with that woman? She looks like she below his level. Guess what? That might be a God ordained marriage. And you see, beauties in the eye. You see what you think is, oh, those people are not compatible. Look, the man or the woman look better than the other person. No, in God's eyes, they compatible. And guess what? They both happy with each other. They both fulfill because God, He put it together. That's why the world, they judge stuff different from God. They judge stuff different from God's people. You might be thinking, oh, that man, that woman, that person, that their partner is more better looking than them. Their partner got more money than them. How could they be with them? You know why? Because God put it together. You know why? Because God ordained it. What you might think is not compatible, what you might think that person does not deserve, God said they deserve it. God said that's theirs. And guess what? Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. You might be thinking that those two people, one person, that couple, that married couple, one person looks better looking than the other. But guess what? In both persons' eyes and both parties' eyes, they might be the best, most good-looking partner they've ever seen. When that man looks at his wife, he might just see nothing but beauty. When that woman looks at her husband, she might just see him as straight handsome, the most handsome man on the planet. When that woman looks at her husband, and when that man looks at his wife, he might see her as the most beautiful woman on the planet. See, what you think is incompatible, they both might see each other as the best fit for each other. So nevertheless, God can do anything. Don't believe what people don't believe what people say that you can't do this and you can't do that. Oh, this is final. You can't do that, nothing about it. Listen, the Most High, God, He got the final answer. Jesus Christ, He got the final answer. With Him, all things are possible. And what He says goes. And what He says will come to pass will come to pass. So if God says you're going to be blessed, you're going to be blessed. If God says you're going to make it to the top, you're going to make it to the top. If God says that you're going to have a great marriage, you're going to have a great marriage. If God says that you're going to have a great job, you're going to have a great job. If God says you're going to have your own business, you're going to have your own business. And nobody can stop it. You know why? Because once again, with God, all things are possible.